What's up, girls and boys? What's up, internet? I am Bianca, and I hope you are all having a fantastic week. For today, we'll be skipping 2 routes that you can easily complete if you follow our previous Nozomi videos and use that in conjunction with this one and the one that comes after. The reason for this, as I've mentioned in the past, is that although the game's second act is all about playing through each of the characters' unique routes, they basically just follow the same kind of pattern, with the 2 characters sharing the same first parts of their acts and then sharing their second act with another character. So yeah, I figured that Nozomi and Kokoro, who is the centerpiece of today's and the next video, will suffice to give you all a complete walkthrough. But before we begin, it wouldn't be a spoiler-free walkthrough/guide video from yours truly without our unique warning. So here we go. There's much to be said about today's video, especially if it's the last of the 4 routes that you follow. And as we've made mention several times before, Kokoro's route mimics what Shinya and Ryotaro's both bore. But for now, we will tackle the first part of Kokoro's second act, Slothful philosophy to be exact. Take heed though of our usual warnings, though this chapter contains less of those triggering things. And though there are much more I would like to say, I'll save it all for another day. And I will not dilly-dally any further, so let's go right ahead to today's chapter. Alright, let's get straight down to business. To start off Kokoro's chapter, we have to speak to her by heading to the library where she has holed herself in. So head on over there. Once you enter, you will begin a rather long cutscene. Now, in this initial cutscene, you can choose whatever option you would like. It doesn't really matter. Not yet, anyways. When that cutscene ends, however, and you have heard Vanitas' warning, interact with Kokoro once again to start her recruitment event for Act 2. In order to progress with Kokoro, you would need to select the following answers when prompted. I can't do that. I can't just leave you be. I'm worried about you. You can't expect me to just relax, and then just select the lone options that follows throughout the conversation. Agree to entwine your fate with Kokoro and watch the rest of the cutscene to formally start Kokoro Surugadai Act 2 Slothful Philosophy. Once the cutscene is done, remember to level up Kokoro, especially if you haven't been using her at all apart from her initial act. Prepare as needed, whether that be by leveling up, acquiring better gear, purchasing restorative items from Vanitas, or healing up at the infirmary before heading to our next destination, the Dean's office in the main building. An event will immediately trigger the moment you enter the office, with the Dean giving you your next objective, to head towards the archives and deal with Ryotaro. Once the cutscene ends, head out of the office and the main building and make your way to West Street and the building immediately in front of you. That is the archives. Getting near its entrance will trigger an interesting cutscene. Head inside afterwards, where another short cutscene will trigger. When that event is done, head up the stairs and into the first fog-infested area in the archives. As usual, wait for Vanitas to give you the phone number to the depths. Call the number to deal with level 69 to 70 enemies, a breakable wall, and will-o-wisp gimmicks if you're playing this route last with Kokoro and the Singularity. If you're playing through Shinya's route, and if you choose that as your second route, then you will be dealing with level 49 to 52 enemies, breakable walls, 2 will-o-wisp, and autocannons in the Precipice of Gluttony 1, so keep that in mind. Once that is done, the dead calls for this floor will be put on hold, and you will be able to freely explore the archive's second floor without any hiccups. Be sure to obtain the following before progressing through the area. The red note, Ryotaro's Memo 1, which is close to Vanitas underneath the wall clock, will give you the hint you need to find the phone call to Ryotaro's first ideal. So, in order to find that call, head to Exhibit Hall A. In Exhibit Hall A, you can also find a locker with a red note close to it telling you how to open it. The code for this locker can be found in an Academy note you may not have yet picked, but to make things easier for you guys, it's 1970 or 1970, the year when the archives was built. You will get Hunting Grounds SSR registered to your library for your troubles. Now, back to the phone call. You can trigger it by heading to the middle of the chairs found in the left room of the exhibit hall. Lower your mad gauge before you answer the call and be whisked to the depths where, if you are once again playing through Kokoro's route last, you will encounter level 68 to 70 enemies and gimmicks that include a seal corruptor, a breakable wall, and a will-o-wisp. Otherwise, in Shinya's route, enemies that are around level 50 to 55 await you, along with breakable walls, will-o-wisp, and a summoning gate for gimmicks. Deal with the enemies however you wish, and at the end of the battle, Ryotaro's first ideal will be shattered, and the mist on the second floor of the archives will dissipate. You will then be transported to the library, or whichever headquarters you and your chosen companion have selected, where you need to speak with the characters there to trigger another cutscene. Here you will learn more about Kokoro. After this illuminating event, head back to the archives once you have thoroughly prepared. Go up to the third floor where the mist awaits. In the archives' third floor, wait for Vanitas to hand over the phone number. Call the number to be teleported into the precipice of Gluttony 2 and battle against enemies ranging from level 68 to 71 and gimmicks that include the spike ball that causes bleed and 2 autocannons. If you're playing this with Shinya for your second route, you will encounter level 49 to 51 enemies and breakable walls, a teleport gate, and a will-o-wisp as your gimmick. Beat the enemies and destroy the singularity to stop the dead calls in this floor and allow yourself a worry-free time in exploring. Be sure to nab the following in this third floor area before even attempting to find the phone call that will lead you to Ryotaro's second ideal. There is a locker in Exhibit Hall B which you can open by inputting the year when the old dormitory was completed. So input 1942 or 1942 as the password to register Fertile Ground 6 to your library. Anyways, to find the phone call and as hinted in one of Ryotaro's red notes, head through the door at the southern part of the map. In that hallway, turn right, which is, if you're looking at the minimap, will send you to a dead end on the western part of the map and walk to the end. Here, answer the call after making sure your mad gauge is lowered and be whisked to the second ideal battle. Again, in Kokoro's route, if you chose her last, you will be fighting off against fiends level 68 to 71 and a poison flower, a breakable wall, a will-o-wisp, an autocannon, and a silk constrictor will be up there with you as gimmicks. Meanwhile, in Shinya's route, level 49 to 53 enemies as well as breakable walls, teleport gates, summon gates, and the will-o-wisp gimmick will await you. After this battle, you will be sent back to your headquarters. Again, talk with the characters there in order to progress. Prepare as needed, level up, and head to the infirmary to lower your mad gauge before returning to the archives. Once you're ready, head back to the 3rd floor of the archives and pass through the same door you went through to get to Ryotaro's second ideal battle. Now, instead of heading to where the second phone call to the ideal was, head to the opposite direction and through the door oozing with mist. Wait for Vanitas' phone number to the precipice of Gluttony 3. Trigger that phone call and get ready to face fiends with levels 68 to 71 and a map that has no other gimmicks apart from a healing light right at its center. If you're playing this on Shinya's route, enemies will be around level 49 to 52, provided he is the second character you picked. There will also be breakable walls, a confusion flower, and a will-o-wisp, as well as autocannons for gimmicks. Deal with this battle however you see fit, but remember not to overdo it since you will be facing a boss battle in a little bit and you will still have to explore a mist-infested area. Keep your mad gauge for all party members as low as possible to make both easier to deal with. When you are done and the singularity has been shattered, feel free to explore to obtain the following notes. Now, be careful with the unhinged sitting close to Vanitas, as getting close to her will get her to wail. If you are within her radius, your mad gauge will immediately increase and you will be kicked out of the archives and back to the infirmary. The note beside her, however, gives you the hint on where to find the final phone call to the ideal. Simply put, just follow the linear path to the east while keeping clear of the unhinged as you collect the notes scattered about. Go down the stairs and keep following along the route until you get to the end of it, where Ryotaro's final red note and the final call to his ideal can be found. Prepare yourself for the boss battle before answering the call, as you will be facing fiends ranging from level 69 to 71. The Monarch will be at level 72 and Ryotaro will be at level 70. There will be 3 summoning gates, 1 near the beginning and 2 close to where Ryotaro and his Monarch are. There will also be a confusion flower, a will-o-wisp, 3 autocannons, and a healing circle in this map. If you're on your second character route or Shinya's, the levels will again be lower, with the Monarch being at level 54, Ryotaro at 53, and the fiends ranging from 49 to 55. For gimmicks, there will instead be 4 summoning gates, 6 breakable walls, 3 autocannons, a confusion flower, and a will-o-wisp. Attack-wise, both Ryotaro and his Monarch can deal damage to a long and wide area with their authority. But it is Ryotaro you have to look out for, especially when he enters his awakened state using True Resolve, since he will most definitely use his special attack at the very next turn. And if you have already used it when you were controlling him, then you would know that it deals a lot of damage to a line of units. If you're not careful, he can easily one-shot any of them even. So, as an advice, I say keep your units as far apart as possible unless you're confident you can take the hit. Or, at the very least, keep your MC away from the range of his attacks, since it'll be game over if he ends up falling. Apart from that, the Monarch can lower your stats with some of her authorities. Though in my personal playthroughs, I always went after the Monarch first, it would be a better idea to deal with Ryotaro before he can deal more damage and go into a second awakened state, which I've seen him done in my own playthrough of Kokoro's route. When you do finally beat him, watch the cutscene that occurs afterwards. You will then be brought to the infirmary, where the first part of Kokoro's second act ends. Now, if you're doing this and are following along to how I have done my own playthrough, then Kokoro is your final character and final route. If so, you will find our next video, the quick leveling up guide, to be quite useful. I'll be publishing it first before the conclusion of Kokoro's route, since this is the best time to farm for spirit and level up your units, especially your fiends. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, you guys know the drill. Dream on, fly on. Bye bye for now. Keep safe, everyone.
Someday we'll have our last conversation and drink our last cup of coffee. Someday we might be 80 and think about the different things